Alrighty, welcome back to the YouTube channel, everybody, or if this is your first time here, welcome. Today I'm going to be going over the Evolution Outdoors. This is their Ibex release. So this essentially is Evolution Outdoors' take on a hinge style release, but for a more hunting-esque scenario. So first things first, it comes in this super nice carrying case. The release will be in the foam here, and then it will have a thumb barrel, Allen keys, and this little warning, orange, yeah, essentially a warning saying the release is basically supposed to be set. You can do fine-tunements, but it's pretty close to how most people would want it. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, not many companies build a release case, and this one's definitely nice. My only gripe is I've heard other people complain about it too, but this case has it pre-cut where this finger attachment here is in the down position. So if you're like me and you like it pretty vertical or horizontal or straight in line, we'll say, like, you can't put it back in the case unless you get different foam, which, I don't know. That seems like a hassle to me, but again, just my opinion. But the release itself, super clean looking. I mean, let's see, get to focus. There, yep. So I have the gray color, or the basic steel, whatever you want to call it. I know they have, again, kind of a heavy brass. I think it's brass, but it's a golden release. But they also have, which is really cool, customizable Cerakote. So you can pretty much get any color. I don't know if I've seen a color you can't get on it. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. I mean, I know we haven't gotten into the actual release part yet, and how is it? What do I think of it? And all that. But if you're wanting a release you can truly customize, yeah, this one's up there. So let's get into the actual release. What makes this release different than like a True Ball, HBC Flex, a Scott Longhorn, or literally any other hinge that you could use for hunting, or an UltraView hinge? That's a big one because they have their hunting bracket. But what makes this one better? So Evolution Outdoors went with a hinge that you can close on the D-loop. So it's got a magnetized, I assume it's a magnet, I don't know, maybe it's not. Either way, it can close around the D-loop and hang on it just like a thumb button can. So it will hold and stay on your D-loop, which, granted, if you're someone out west chasing elk around, or even mule deer, antelope, whatever it may be, you're not really keeping your release on there anyways. But if you're like me, you hunt whitetails primarily from a tree stand or ground blind, you can clip it on your D-loop and be perfectly fine. Like, it's not going to fall off. So that automatically makes it like 20 times better than most other hinges strictly for hunting. The next thing is the angle of the head. So a lot of people shoot hinges differently, but this one's designed for you to truly just rotate instead of kind of applying back pressure or changing the weight of your fingers. I don't know. There's so many different ways to fire a hinge release. I know Bow Only Outdoors. I believe it was Josh that did it, but he did a how to shoot a hinge video, and I think he had 5 different ways you can shoot it. So, I mean, it really comes down to personal preference. So the next thing that kind of makes this one special, the click is more of a vibration. It's not an audible click. So when you hear that, that's the release going off. Let's see if I can get it to... I can't even... So it's all a vibration based for a click. So you'll feel it kind of go... You feel it, it almost feels like it jumps a little bit, which we'll get into the negatives and why I'm not going to end up using this release for hunting anyways, but we'll get that out of the way in a little bit. So with even the click style thumb from Stan, it's a louder click, and whitetails and other creatures that we hunt, as we know, have very good hearing. So the click in a lot of hinges is loud because a lot of people use it for target shooting. They want to be click so they can kind of bring back to their mental reality, or however Joel Turner says it. But yeah, so the click is silent, but you still feel and you still kind of hear it, because when you're anchored in, I mean, your ear's right here, you'll hear it a little bit, but like I've had my dad stand next to me when I'm shooting this and he can't hear the click. So if he can't hear it standing 2 feet away, I don't think a deer at 30 yards or even 20 yards is going to hear it when it goes off. So that's really cool. It does have an attachment slot right here for a lanyard, which is really nice. You have to buy the lanyard separate, I believe. Yes, you do. I had to think back to it because it's been a minute since I've opened up the box to see what came with it. But so that is good and bad. Everyone likes a different lanyard, so you can get the one you want, but this is an expensive release. I mean, this was $300, and that's obviously a lot of money. So I do kind of wish it came with at least a basic lanyard, but I understand why they didn't. It's reasonable, kind of. Depends on your level of premium, like UltraView loves to call it. So obviously this has a 2-moon or sear system. You can adjust how hot it shoots and how fast or slow you get to the click. I would say that's pretty standard on most hinges anymore, but it's good to know it has it. It has a thumb barrel you can attach to it. I know when I kind of looked into this release, they really were like, you don't really need to put a thumb barrel on this when you shoot it, because at the end of the day, you're just rotating. You have no reason, like you're going to take it off when you start to rotate anyways. But I don't know. I agree with them on that part. When you start to rotate, you take it off, but I really like having this on because, I mean, hinges are pretty scary in my opinion. Like, I don't know. They keep me on my toes, but I really like to have my thumb here so I know my hand's not going to rotate. It just gives me a little more reassurance and confidence that I'm not going to punch myself in the face and not have a good time shooting. So I would say that about covers it. This third finger slot, while I'm thinking of it, is adjustable, so you can adjust it up and down. They might have a fourth finger. Don't quote me. I'm not going to waste time and look it up right now. But so yeah, those general positives. I mean, it's a great hunting hinge. It's really accurate. It is comfortable. That is another thing. Like, it has wider finger beds and it's comfortable. Like, I could easily put a glove on and be fine. And for reference, so for a Stan release, I'm going to be a size extra large. And for this one, I ordered the small and medium, and it fits perfect. So that's kind of, we'll transition this into the negatives of this release, in my opinion. The sizing was oddly too complicated for me. I didn't want to get out a ruler and measure how wide my finger bases were. Did I? Yes. But I was kind of stubborn and didn't want to. And then you go to their sizing chart, and the only real difference is the length of the index finger, from what I understand. So when you go from a size small, medium to a medium large, all that's really changing is the finger bed width of this index finger. So that's something to keep in mind. If it's not fitting for some reason in your middle finger or your ring finger, it's probably just too small of a release for you to begin with. So, I mean, that's something to keep in mind. They only have 2 sizes. I wish they had like a true small, medium, and large and adjusted all the finger beds accordingly. But I would still say for the vast majority of people, a small medium is going to fit perfectly. The next negative is the price, I would say. For $300, I would say it's fairly priced, but it's still expensive. Like, there's a few things that are different, good or bad, about this hinge, and I would say, like anything, it's an investment. But $300 is still a lot. If this was even like 250, I'd feel way more confident in it. But 300, you just start competing with a lot of releases. But they do include a lot of small things. So I mean, granted, this little case probably cost them like $5 to get, if that. I don't know. I'm not in on the sourcing of materials and all that stuff, so I couldn't tell you. Like, obviously you have research and development cost, and then covering the product and overhead cost associated with this release. So I'm sure they're not like gouging people, but I wish it was just a little bit cheaper. But honestly, I wish everything was cheaper. I feel like vast majority of people would agree with me. Cheaper the better, as long as the quality's the same. But yeah, I mean, it's a great release. And if you hunt with a hinge, I think you would be silly to not use this hinge, especially if you are a ground blind or tree stand hunter where you're stagnant and you can just keep your release on there and you're ready to roll. So I would say if you're one of those people, you need to check this release out because it is really good. Like, it is. It's their first release they've made, but I'm pretty sure they went through a lot of pro archers and kind of figured out what they wanted in a hunting style release. And I would say they generally got it right. The main reason, so we'll get into the main reason why I'm not going to use this release, really. I do not like hinges. I can't shoot a hinge. Something within the rotation, I'm not consistent enough. And trust me, I shot this release a lot, like hundreds of shots. And I got okay with it, but I was so much more accurate with a thumb button. It was just not worth it for me to switch. And then on top of that, I just don't feel confident in my skills as an archer when a deer or even a turkey comes out for me to fully execute a shot, because even on the target, when I didn't execute perfectly, my misses were large. Unlike that of a thumb button where I can kind of get away with just slamming the trigger in stressful situations and it still goes pretty much right where I want it. So it's kind of a hard thing for me to switch to when I know how I am hunting and I know how a release like this works. So it makes it hard for me to be like, yeah, I trust myself enough to, if I have the biggest deer in my life at even 20 yards, to know I'm going to put this in a perfect spot. And obviously everyone's different. If you like a hinge style release, like I said, this is the best hunting hinge on the market, like without a doubt. Fight me in the comments over it. Don't care. I don't care. But I'm going to be sticking with the thumb button just because stuff happens in the deer woods, turkey woods, whatever. And I just want to be as confident as I am with my skills, and with a hinge, I'm just not as confident. And hunting's a confidence game at the end of the day, or archery is, I should say. So that's the only reason that I'm going to be straying away from this hinge. Otherwise, I'd be hunting with it. Like, it works. When you execute your shots, it's so good. And that's any hinge, not just this one. But, yeah. Moral of the story, I'm a thumb button shooter. I punch the trigger from time to time. So it just makes more sense to me to be more confident in something I know I can have forgiveness in when stuff starts to go wrong in the deer woods. So yeah, overall, I've had this release, by the way, for a couple months now, and I've been playing around with it. So it's not like I got this 2 weeks ago and was like, yeah, I'm just going to see if this works for hunting season this year. Nope. I played with this summer and just never got to a point where I was like, yep, I'm bringing this to the deer woods with me. So I would definitely, I'll leave a link below to Evolution Outdoors website. I use their broadheads. They make great products all around, but I love their broadheads. I use the hide, just the typical 3/4 inch cut up front, and then the 2-inch mechanicals, and those things put in some work. So hopefully we kind of have a cold front. I'm over fall break, so I'm hoping to get out and at least have a chance to shoot even a coyote. That would be really nice. But check out the hunting videos if you want to. They've been a little slow so far, but they'll pick up, I promise. But yeah, I'll leave the link down below to their website. They're a great company, and I have nothing bad to say about them besides that they can't make me like a hinge more than I like my thumb buttons. So I have another review coming up on the Stan Onyx C, so feel free to check that out as well, and check out some hunting videos. I mean, these are some of the bucks I've killed over the last years, and I know my one from last year's upstairs, so you can't see that in the background, but we'll have some hopefully fun hunting content coming soon. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys around.